Good Saturday morning, South Florida. I'm Karli Barnett, and thank you for joining us. It is now 6 o'clock, and here's what we're working on right now. Law enforcement takes down the man they say is responsible for sending explosive devices to prominent Democrats across the country, and it happened right here in South Florida. Plus, we are learning more about the suspect's mental health and his presence on social media. And a new promise from the president to unite the country a day after he blamed the media for the nation's current political climate.
This is CBS 4 News This Morning.
It is now 6 o'clock on this Saturday, October 27th. Thank you for joining us. I'm Karli Barnett. First, let's send it straight over to meteorologist Jennifer Correa for a look at today's forecast. Good morning, Jennifer.
Good morning, Karli.
Thank you, Jennifer. This morning, a man with a long criminal history is back in custody, charged with mailing potentially explosive devices to prominent Democrats and critics of President Donald Trump. All of these are mugshots of one person, Cesar Sayoc, and they all came from just one law enforcement agency, the Broward Sheriff's Office. Sayoc also has a criminal history in Miami-Dade. This morning, we're learning more about how the manhunt led investigators to Plantation. CBS 4's Carrie Codd has these details. Now, that suspect appears to be an ardent President Trump supporter. This is video of him at a Trump rally in Melbourne on February 18th of last year. He is holding a sign that's blasting CNN. Well, his family lives in Aventura, and he used to live there as well. Yesterday, an attorney speaking on behalf of his family called him, quote, a sick individual. CBS 4's Amber Diaz continues our team coverage this morning with more on who Cesar Sayoc is. Now, new this morning, Sayoc's van was anything but inconspicuous, and the public took notice. This video from a viewer sometime before the suspect's arrest. It was taken at a stoplight. The driver of the car was pretending to talk on his cell phone while taking this video. Now, Sayoc also seemed to be an open book on social media. This is just a sample of his social media presence. Nothing violent, but one post after another that is either very pro-Republican or very anti-Democrat. CBS 4's Ty Russell has more on this part of the story. Well, still ahead on CBS 4 this Saturday morning, reporters asked President Trump point blank if because of his rhetoric he felt he deserved any of the blame for these attacks. Here's the president.
The media has been extremely unfair to me and to the Republican Party.
Well, that is just the beginning. The rest coming up in just a minute. Also ahead, did Democratic nominee for governor Andrew Gillum accept thousands of dollars from an undercover FBI agent? New evidence in the corruption probe is out. Well, immediately after the president tells a crowd at a rally that the media is partly to blame for tensions in the country, supporters begin an anti-CNN chant. At that rally in North Carolina last night, the president mentioned the arrest of the male bombing suspect, then went on to complain about the media. And he says rather than toning down his rhetoric, he should, quote, tone it up. CBS 4 anchor Rudabeh Shabazi has more. FBI Director Christopher Wray was also asked about the role of political rhetoric inspiring violence. He deflected that question, saying he is concerned about people committing acts of violence under any motivation. Now onto the campaign for governor this morning. There is more evidence Andrew Gillum may have indeed taken money from an undercover FBI agent posing as a developer. Documents released yesterday show an invoice for more than $4,000 sent by a lobbyist to the undercover agent. The bill was for a reception for Gillum. Earlier this week, a text from Gillum was released that showed he apparently did know he was getting free tickets from the agent. The Democratic gubernatorial nominee denies he did anything wrong. Meantime, he and the Republican nominee, Ron DeSantis, keep campaigning as early voting continues. CBS 4's Hank Tester was at the DeSantis event. Well, speaking of early voting, we have some numbers for early voting in Florida, and they're pretty impressive. In-person early voting began in South Florida this past Monday, and as of this morning, more than 66,000 people have cast ballots in Miami-Dade. More than 68,000 have done so in Broward, and more than 3,000 in Monroe County. Statewide, more than 2 million people have voted either in person or by mail. So far, registered Republicans have the edge over registered Democrats by about 62,000 votes. In-person early voting continues until a week from tomorrow in Miami-Dade and Broward, and a week from today in Monroe County. For polling locations and much more, you can just go to our website, cbsmiami.com/election guide. Now, new this morning, Miami Gardens police asking for your help finding a missing girl. 12-year-old Shandia Johnson went missing yesterday. Come and take a look at your screen right now. She was last seen wearing these clothes, that is blue pants and an orange top, If you have any idea where she is, you are asked to call Miami Gardens Police. Their number, 305-474-6473. Joined now by meteorologist Jennifer Correa. Jennifer, glad to have you with us this morning.
Thank you. I'm very happy to be here.
And you're bringing some cooler temperatures with you, I understand.
Yeah, just in time for a cold front. It's going to be a nice change, Carly. Definitely, we're expecting.
Thank you, Jennifer. CBS 4 this Saturday morning is coming right back. Stay with us. Now on the Healthwatch this morning, a high-tech eye test that diagnoses traditional eye problems, including glaucoma and cataracts, is now helping doctors detect serious health issues. CBS 4's Chris Martinez shows us exactly how this works. Well, CBS This Morning Saturday is coming up at 7 right here on CBS 4. Michelle Miller joins us live from the CBS This Morning studio in New York City. What are you working on for today's show, Michelle?
A whole lot. Saturday.
All right. Thank you so much, Michelle. And remember, CBS This Morning Saturday kicks off at 7 a.m. right here on CBS 4. Still ahead on CBS 4 this Saturday morning, a nationwide manhunt ends right here in South Florida. The suspect is a man with a long criminal history who became obsessed with President Trump and went to great lengths to show that. Plus, an inspection of the president's border wall. A section has actually been completed as Republicans and Democrats spar over immigration.
This is CBS 4 News This Morning.
Good Saturday morning, South Florida. I'm Karli Barnett. Thank you for joining us. It is now 6:30, and here's what we're working on right now. An arrest in the case of explosive devices. What we know about the man, authorities say mailed more than a dozen packages to Democratic leaders all across the country. And building the wall, a longtime promise from President Trump, stretching all the way back to his campaign as a candidate. Now, a part of the President Trump's border wall is complete. And immigration battles with under 2 weeks until the midterms. Democrats and Republicans are facing off as a migrant caravan inches closer to the U.S. border. But first, we're going to get a check of our Saturday forecast. So let's send it over to meteorologist Jennifer Correa. How's it looking out there? Thank you, Jennifer. Now at 6:30, a nationwide manhunt ends in Broward County. The man police say mailed potentially explosive devices to prominent critics of President Donald Trump. And the FBI says there may still be more out there. So what exactly do we know about Cesar Sayoc? He had what some might call an obsession with supporting President Trump. CBS News correspondent David Begnaud has these details. Sayoc is currently at the Federal Detention Center in downtown Miami. He is scheduled to appear in federal court on Monday. Now on to the Trump presidency. Construction crews have finished building the first section of the president's long-touted border wall. Workers placed a plaque on the 30-foot high wall in California. It has the names of President Trump and Homeland Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen. She took a tour of the site. The president also says he will consider issuing an executive order to prevent migrants from seeking asylum at the border. Now, with less than 2 weeks to go until these midterm elections, Republicans and Democrats are ramping up on their rhetoric on immigration. CBS 4's Meg Oliver reports from the Congressional House District in Texas. In a CBS News Battleground Tracker poll, 6 in 10 voters in key districts say immigration will be a very important midterm issue. Now to news across America. The family of an unarmed man shot and killed in his own apartment by a now former Dallas police officer has filed a federal lawsuit. The suit, filed by Botham Jean's parents, claims the former Dallas police officer, Amber Geiger, used excessive force when she gunned down their son in his apartment. She later went on to say she mistook the apartment for her own. The family's attorney also brings up Geiger's social media in the lawsuit. Well, Jean's parents are also suing the mayor, city council, and police chief. Their attorney says they are responsible for training officers and claims there's a practice of shoot first, ask questions later. Megyn Kelly's morning show on NBC has been canceled. The network made the announcement yesterday, days after she made offensive comments about blackface Halloween costumes. She apologized for the comments she made on Wednesday's show, but for the past 2 days, the network aired reruns. Her lawyer, Brian Friedman, says she is still an employee at NBC and that discussions are underway for what her next move is. Next week, the 9 a.m. hour will be hosted by Today's Show co-anchors. Still ahead on CBS 4 this Saturday morning, it may not be $1.6 billion, but tonight's Powerball drawing, that's still a pretty good chunk of change. What should you do with your winnings if you manage to beat the odds? Plus, it's one of the greatest rock and roll bands in history, and coming up, hear from the man playing legendary Queen frontman Freddie Mercury in Bohemian Rhapsody. Happening today, the drawing for the Powerball's $750 million jackpot. It is now the biggest lottery out there since the $1.6 billion Mega Millions last week. So what would you do if you win a big amount of cash? According to research from Vanguard, invest most of it immediately, and 2 out of 3 times your money will make money. That's good news. If there's just one winner in tonight's Powerball, the cash option is an estimated $428.6 million. And the only place to watch the live drawing is on our sister station, MyTV 33, at exactly 10:59. You can also see the numbers on CBS 4 News at 11. Well, the timeless music of Queen is celebrated in the new movie Bohemian Rhapsody. It's a foot-stomping celebration of the band, their music, and their extraordinary lead singer, Freddie Mercury. CBS 4's Lisa Petrillo sat down with the men who portray them on the big screen. Now, during that story, Jennifer, we were talking about how we want to see that movie because he just portrays him and his mannerisms so well. And I think today might be a good day to go see a movie since we still have the heat on. All right, a taste of fall in South Florida. I like it, Jennifer. Thank you. On the Healthwatch this morning, less than 4 out of 10 adults in the U.S. got their flu shot last year, the lowest rate in 7 seasons. That is according to a new report from the CDC. Last year's flu season was also the deadliest in 40 years, with 80,000 deaths. Still ahead on CBS 4 this Saturday morning, the longest World Series game ever. And Miami gets a run out of town for their 3rd loss of the season. It's all straight ahead in sports. Plus, in an all-new Heroes Among Us, we introduce you to a Bronze Star recipient, Victor Catalano, who served during the Navy during World War II. Why he does not consider himself a hero. Stay with us. In some college football this morning, the University of Miami looks like a completely different team compared to the start of the season. And it's not exactly a good thing. Here is CBS 4's Mike Cunha with your morning sports. Now in the World Series Game 3 between the Dodgers and Red Sox, it was already going to go late for the East Coast viewers because they were playing in LA, but nobody thought it was going to go this late. It looked like it might be over at the bottom of the 13th. Dodgers down 2-1, but with 2 outs, they have runners on. Yasiel Puig smacks one up the middle to second, but Ian Kinsler throws it away, tie game. Then it wasn't until 3:30 in the morning, bottom of the 18th inning, and goodbye. Max Muncy slams one over the wall. The outfielders do their best to make a play, but all they can do is watch it go over their heads and into the stands full of cheering fans. That's a walk-off in the longest World Series game ever. 7 hours and 20 minutes. Red Sox currently lead the series 2-1. Very exciting there. Now to an all-new Heroes Among Us this morning. Every week in partnership with the Florida Panthers, we put the spotlight on a man or a woman who has gone beyond the call of duty for our country. This morning, CBS 4's anchor Maribel Rodriguez introduces us to a World War II veteran, Victor Catalano. He served in the U.S. Navy from 1943 to 1946. And we certainly thank all of those who have served or are serving our country. CBS 4 this Saturday morning is coming right back. Stay with us, but first, here are your winning lottery numbers. If they're yours, give me a call. I'm your long-lost cousin. Well, we are just days away from Halloween, if you can believe that, so there is still time to get your decorations out and your pumpkins carved, but you probably aren't preparing like they are here in Romania. Might be better known as Transylvania. The entire castle turns into a real land of horror as tourists come to visit Dracula's fortress. Ooh, spooky stuff, but nothing too scary with our Saturday forecast this morning, Jennifer.
Not too scary. Warmer Halloween, but you know what? That's going to be comfortable, nice and dry.
Exactly. We won't let it dampen our spirit. Of
No,
course.
it won't.
That does it for CBS 4 this Saturday morning. We thank you for joining us. Up next, CBS This Morning Saturday. We'll be back in another 25 minutes with a live news update. So have a great day, everybody.